King's Care actually evolves from some money we had at the practice called the King's Trust, which was set up in honour of a gentleman called Mr. King, whose wife, after he died, set up a fund to buy equipment for the surgery. And that fund stayed in place until 1997, when we decided to change its role, and we created a patient support group using money that was left in that fund, and also by us as a practice donating some surgery time, some hours from our receptionists to help get it up and get it going. But the real work of King's Care goes on with Maggie Burnell, who is really instrumental in starting it and making it grow for what it is today, and also the team in the office who get the whole thing up and running and sort out the volunteers and make it relevant for the patient. King's Care is a separate charity. They're situated in the surgery building. But to patients coming in, they see King's Care as being part of what the surgery does. So our receptionists will ask King's Care to help out for certain things if it's relevant. People will be referred in and out of King's Care from the desk at the surgery. People will come into King's Care and may be referred into the surgery by the King's Care staff, so it's a symbiotic relationship. So geographically, being on the same site has huge benefits, because one of the large things we do as King's Care is patient transport for our surgery. Doctors and the nurses are helped hugely by King's Care going out and getting those patients who are unable to come in by any other means. So practically, transport is a huge thing, and that's how King's Care really grew around the transport that we have here. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that general practice has changed hugely since I originally went into it. We went in as a GP with an idea somebody becomes unwell and you give them some medication to make them better. Now the whole, that the NHS can't afford this anymore, and the emphasis is now on keeping people well and keeping those people that have chronic conditions well within their limitations, and doing things to try and stop them from needing to access the medical services or use them far less. So King's Care supports our patients with activities and befriending and shopping and all those things that can actually enrich a patient's life without the need for them to come and then use the medical services, which are always there but are more and more stretched, as we all know. King's Care is instrumental in supporting the new model of care. King's Care, we have virtual wards here at the surgery where we have patients who are coming in and out of hospital, and we're trying to look at reasons of how to reduce that. And King's Care are part of that virtual ward, so a representative will come to that, are involved with complex care teams. Intermediate care that's now starting, and now with the new whole health and wellbeing, King's Care have taken on the mantle of that as well. These are all the way that healthcare is going in the future, to try and reduce the amount of acute medical services that's needed in primary care. It costs a lot of money to keep people in hospital, and King's Care, by going in and bringing somebody's bed downstairs, can get somebody out of hospital 2 or 3 days earlier than if waiting for a professional, if you like, outfit or social services to come in and do that for them. Somebody may need to get out of hospital and just needs their heating turned on and some milk and something stacked in the fridge. Simple things like that will actually improve the throughput of patients in the system. There's two things. One is to keep people fit, especially people with chronic illnesses, to keep them fit. So we have got singing groups and walking groups and Tai Chi and gardening, and so activities to actually keep people fit and away from the medical services. And then once they do become ill, secondary role is what can we put in place to stop them from falling in again, because the revolving door of the patient who comes in and out of hospital is happening too much. And the voluntary sector is uniquely placed in being able to do that.
HITS is probably best known for providing a food bank, but we are a charity that deals with homelessness. So actually we'll pretty much do anything we can to help anybody in crisis or in poverty or facing homelessness. We have donations of food donated in supermarkets around the district. We have large food producers and wholesalers who give us excess amounts and in some cases donate food. We have supermarkets donating short date food that's about to go out of date but is not yet out of date. We even have the produce from the vegetable garden at Chenningswood Prison donated to us. So the generosity of the people of Teignbridge means we're always fully stocked with food that we can give out. We have between 10 and 15 regular volunteers who pack the food, deliver the food and collect it from the supermarkets. We have links with some of the secondary schools in the area who come and help pack items and do specials like Christmas hampers. We're very thankful for the people who volunteer and give their time to the food bank. In some cases, people we've helped in the past who want to give something back, and we do appreciate that. We normally get referrals of people who need a food pack from doctors, ministers of religion, the police, PCSOs, just about anybody, CAB particularly, the housing department at Teignbridge District Council. People can refer themselves, and it can be done from word of mouth. We'd rather help someone who perhaps didn't need it than someone go without who needs it. HITS takes the view that we should only provide food parcels for 6 weeks. However, if there are extenuating circumstances, we will continue to supply it over that 6 weeks, but we need a good reason to. We feel that the 6 weeks gives people time to get back on their feet, and we would then look to signpost them to appropriate services, to CAB to make sure they were getting the benefits they were entitled to, possibly to cookery classes, so to make sure that the money they do have is being spent wisely in cooking a good meal using fresh ingredients and not paying for expensive microwave meals. We do provide moving in packs in many cases, which will be just the basics that you might need if you were moving into a completely empty property. Particularly people, families, usually mothers and children fleeing domestic violence. They are housed, but they can be presented with an empty shell, and we provide some emergency items just to make life livable, and then we'd look to source bedding, beds and furniture, possibly second-hand, and help people get that. But we would work on all fronts. We take the view that if we can help, we will. I think it stops people getting to a crisis point where they might actually, in some cases, have to be admitted to hospital. It helps by having a food parcel. We're engaging with people, and we can signpost them and encourage them to go to other help and assistance that they might not otherwise take. I think we would have children who were in a situation where they weren't properly nourished, and I think we could see people becoming sick or not getting the services they need. So I think it is important that we exist as a charity. We can work outside of the normal channels, but we can be complementary to the statutory services, and we can go that extra mile, and we can be a bit more perhaps a human face than the other services that inevitably have to work to a set criteria. Highly intelligent people who are graduates, who find themselves as a single parent working in a sort of low-paid job, actually they find it quite Kafkaesque, sort of trying to navigate their way through the sort of benefits and other services that there are there. So you imagine someone with borderline mental health issues, with anxiety or other issues, or even health issues. It really is quite difficult to work your way through it, and it can be humiliating, it can be intimidating. So hopefully sometimes as HITS, if we go with people sometimes, and with our people who act as counsellors for people, we can help them access the services they're entitled to, and that will in fact cost society less in the long run if we deal with the problems early.
We're a charity, and we are there to provide services for people who are over 50, and it encompasses all types of things that they could need, from exercising to eating, signposting, all sorts of services. Anything that they need, we try to provide. It's very much led by what the customer asks us for. The sorts of things that we're most well known for, I suppose, are the lunch club, which we run weekdays, Monday to Friday. Our age range is from 50 to about 90, or in fact 95 some of our clients are. And they come in for a meal that's cooked in our kitchen, locally sourced produce, freshly cooked and normally healthy and nutritious. A few sneaky desserts in there with a bit of custard, but we work that off with all the other exercise classes that we run, and we do things, all sorts of dancing, so ballroom dancing through to line dancing, Eastern dancing. We will also do seated yoga. Some feedback we had from yoga was that we have a lady who is partially sighted, and she finds getting around quite tricky. She's found that she is actually more mobile now than she was through taking part in the yoga class, and she sleeps better. She's found that she can hold her body more upright than she used to, and that has made her find walking easier, and she can get around better. We also try to help people learn new skills, so maybe learning computer or learning how to download bits of information from the internet, how to communicate with people with Skype if they've got family in other countries. We've got art classes and craft classes. We have other people who will come in and provide specific services like chiropody, nail trimming, carers, having assessments for carers, counselling, massage. And we're right next door to a hairdresser as well, so we really are a one-stop shop. You can practically get everything you need. There's about 20 people who help us, other people who might help us with specific events like fundraising events or standing in the cold and making collections. We luckily have some other people that we can call upon to help us with that. And most of those volunteers, interestingly enough, are all over 60 themselves. They're very passionate about what they do, and we couldn't do what we do if it weren't for the continued support of our volunteers.
We provide services to support older people to remain living independently at home. So our services are aimed at those aged 50 plus. We do a foot care service. Nail service, we've got 250 clients on our books who use the service probably every 6 to 8 weeks, and that's increasing all the time.
People don't realise when you get old, there's things that you can't do. So you've got to get somebody else to do them for you. There's a lot of people that can't bend down and do their own toenails, so this is wonderful because it's such a help. Such a help. It's worth the money to come here and have it done. And I wouldn't be without it. So I hope they're not going to get rid of it, because I don't know what I'd do. And that's the truth.
This is my 3rd visit. My nails are cut and filed and that, and made comfortable. Oh, it makes a great difference, because if your nails get too long, it's painful to walk. And it's hard on the shoes as well. It is a very essential service.
Things like the nail service, you're visiting clients in their own home, so our nail practitioners and all our staff are sort of trained to look at triggers and clues that might indicate that somebody's struggling. So part of that, if somebody were to say, well, you know, the cost of the services, we ensure that we offer a benefits check, and quite often, you know, they're not getting what they're entitled to, attendance allowance, and then it's building that relationship which then supports them to link into the services that they need. It might not necessarily be our service, but then it reassures them, and you're building this relationship, and they know who to come to then if they're struggling. So it works really well. And we do assist caring, assist home help. Assist caring, we're supporting on average about 30 clients a week through a range of services. And that tends to stay very level, you know, as clients go, so new ones come on board. We also have a voluntary service for older people who don't have any families or friends living locally to support them. And we also help older people identify any benefit entitlement that can help them to pay for services such as ours, to come in and support them at home. We have 78 volunteers, but that includes our trustees. We have 19 outreach staff who provide the services of assist caring, the home help. One of the benefits of being a small charitable or micro-organisation is we've got more flexibility, so we can respond quite quickly to changing needs. If somebody's suddenly ill, needs a pint of milk, you know, one of us can go out and get that pint of milk, and we can help there and then. It's more about adapting to support their needs than us sort of being prescriptive and saying, well, no, we can't, that's not what we do. We try and help. So it's a very busy and active little charity.
Primarily we started over 4 years ago when the library closed, and we had space in the church premises, So we now run the library for the village with volunteers. We have computer so that our volunteer librarians are in touch with Devon County Library. We can order books and we can fetch them for people as well. So that's one of the main reasons why we started. We also have a picture gallery which usually changes every month. That's on the walls above the books in the cafe where folk can come for tea, coffee, main meals. We have 30 to 35 volunteers. So everything is voluntary. I have to say, although we're only open part-time, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays and Saturdays, if you open the door to the hub, people think you're functioning and will come in for a chat or expecting a cup of tea or something. Mainly, I think we're hospitality. We're somewhere to go within walking distance with friendly volunteers where folk can relax and chat. We have a number of groups that meet for different sessions, card making, craft, writers, and we've got our mother and toddler group which meets weekly, and the health visitor comes once a month, which means then it's open to anyone who wants access to the health visitor as well. Since the hub has been running for quite some time, the decision was made to try and organise a memory cafe, which we have done basically through the hub, but it is now separate to the hub and meets on a day when the hub is closed, so that we have everything cool, calm and collected for those folk who have memory problems. We're not going to confuse them and upset their afternoon out, and that's a 12 months old, and it's going quite well. People have started to come to us and are coming to us regularly for that contact, particularly when they live at home alone. We have got close links with the surgery anyway, because they have a group of folk sharing care, so where we can combine on problems or ways of making things better, then we have those links with the surgery, and the surgery is involved with the memory cafe as well. And we have mental health nurses that come into that as well, and they send their students for the experience as well.
We had a coffee meeting about what the community wanted, and I think it was me that put down that I would like to know how to cook, because I could only cook basic things. So I just wanted to be able to do that motherly home cooking thing. I like this option because it was just the things that I like to make, like bolognese and stuff like that, I usually get it out of a jar and it contains loads of sugar and stuff like that, so I wanted to know how you can make it from scratch so it's healthier, so I can feed it to my kids and know that they aren't getting 10 spoons of sugar in their bolognese.
I've always been good at cooking, but never actually making like the sauces and fresh pasta and stuff like that, so I mainly wanted to do it from, be able to cook things from scratch and not out of a tin or a packet.
I used to get everything out of a jar. Everything was out of a packet, everything out of a jar, because it's easier. But it's nice to know that you can make stuff from not that many ingredients. So I like that.
I know that there's a lot of sugar in different jar, pasta sauces and meat sauces and all this sort of stuff, sweet and sour sauce. So knowing that I can do a healthier sauce with, you know, little or no sugar, or, you know, little or no salt, or no added preservatives and stuff like that, is definitely better.
It's had a big impact. I was quite boring when it comes to food, same thing all the time, and now I know how to cook a big range of different foods from scratch that are healthy.
It's better for them in the long run as well, and I don't like the idea of feeding my children loads and loads of sugar and salt and stuff, so I feel better and I feel like they're getting a proper decent meal at the end of the day.
I cook more healthily, I cook more from scratch at home. I think about what I'm going to eat more than what I did before.
Well, that's it. It's just knowing that, like, you don't actually read what's on a jar until you start making stuff from scratch and you realise how much sugar, how much rubbish you're actually giving them.
I've learned a lot more about herbs, spices, using a lot more fresh vegetables that I didn't think I'd like, i.e. courgettes, when we made the red sauce. So yeah, it's made a big impact, and Chris enjoys it. The grandchildren enjoy what we cook, so yeah, I think it's worked well.
Well, it's made me aware of my preconception that if you do it from scratch it's going to take so much longer, and that it wouldn't taste much different anyway. So now I know that you can go home, whip together whatever you want quite quickly, and it tastes much better than the stuff you get in the jars, and it's usually cheaper as well because you have them all in your cupboard, and it's like the staple bits of your cupboard, so you don't need to spend loads of money.
It's not schooly, it's not, it doesn't feel as though you've just got to sit and watch somebody else show you how to do it. It's fun. We're all doing it together. I enjoy it. It doesn't feel like a class. It's a fun group.
It's made cooking not such a chore. Realise it can be more fun, and you can make nice things easier than I thought I could.
Nice to be able to mix with the cooking people and, you know, have a conversation and a coffee while we're doing it, and it's sort of like a socialising cooking thing. It's really fun.